All right, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, my man Johnny VTV. This is a brand new program. It's called Big Bets. This is the best sports betting video show podcast that you are going to watch on the internet, period. I'm going to do this every week. We're going to go game by game, give you a pick against the spread, a total, give you some survivor advice, right? So, Johnny, the rules is this, right? If a favorite is a favorite by 200 or more, I'll ask you about that team for Survivor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, we just go through it, give a pick against the spread. You want to talk totals, we fine with that. We ain't in no rush, you know what I'm saying? We are not constricted by jackasses in the mainstream media, you know what I'm saying? We can do whatever it is that we want to do, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to have a good time. We'll have fun with this one. Everybody subscribe, like, share, do all the YouTube shit, you know what I'm saying? So we here now. Now, Johnny V, last night, got the joint started. NFL season kicks off. Lions and Kansas City Chiefs in KC. But I think it was that number closed. Kansas City laying 3.5 is where it closed at.
3.5, I want to say. I had my computer in front of me right around kickoff. Like after the first drive, I was seeing a 4.5. So I can't answer that 100%, but I do think it's 3.5 just because like we stopped talking maybe like a half hour before kickoff, and that's what I saw that.
Right. So bet, right? So that was the deal. Now the Lions win the game. They win the money line hits. The Lions at plus 3.5 hits, and the under comes in. So basically my review of the game is this. The Lions beat the Chiefs JV team. No Chris Jones, no Travis Kelce. Now, I'm not going to make excuses for the Chiefs. Kadarius Toney was a dog in the bad way. Not a DAWG dog, a DOG dog. Like, he caused them to lose. When you cause a team to lose from the receiver position, that's an embarrassment. So, Johnny, your boy Dan Campbell in the locker room, oh, man, I love you guys, bro. You guys came in here and beat the defending champ. You guys are ready, man. It's a fucking scam.
Yeah, I mean, before we even get into that game, can I just say that was the most average, at best, mediocre football game we've ever seen, and all these thirsty people that are just dying for NFL, like.
But Johnny, you can't do that. You can't come on here and trash the NFL because you're.
I'm not, bro. But like, let's call it what it is. Like that was a bad product, and this is the new age of the NFL. We're wowed by a few great plays and a couple good finishes here and there with a few good games mixed in. Mostly, it's not a good product. Like, that was case in point last night. It was not good.
There's no way you can say that when the Chiefs were undermanned. They didn't have probably the two of their three best players were not there. You got excitement in the new running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that somebody that was going in the first round of fantasy drafts. You're not going to sit up here and diss football and you watch college baseball. So we're not going to do that.
College baseball,
nobody cares about the ping of the bat.
It doesn't matter if they care or not. It is what it is. The college sports in general are better than pro sports. It's a fact. But, let's call it what it is here. The Kansas City Chiefs, Kadarius Toney is the reason they lost.
100%.
That's what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's bad enough this guy dropped 3 passes, but he literally, I can't even say he dropped the perfectly thrown ball. Mahomes threw him. He more like just threw it in the air to the Lions defender, and he happened to be in the right way. Brian Branch, you got to correct me on the name if I'm wrong there. But at the end of the day, that changed the entire complexion of the game. Mahomes did look good for the most part. Really, he only missed one throw, and he was being flushed by Aiden Hutchinson. He barely missed because Sky Moore couldn't get there. It was just out of his grasp. But, I mean, Mahomes looked good, all things considered. Pacheco is a little bit concerned that he didn't really get going for his touches. Nobody else stepped up, really, except for Rashee Rice. He called him on an anytime touchdown last night. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to overreact. I think the Lions fans need to stop overreacting. Like, you go into Kansas City, bro. You go into Kansas City, you put up 14 points on offense without Chris Jones and Travis Kelce on the other side. You're acting like you won the Super Bowl. Like, let's pump the brakes.
Yeah. I'm with you with a Lions fan. I'm not into this. Lions are going to be this great NFC team this year. The Lions may be a playoff team in a weak NFC, but they ain't going to get out the first round. Look, I'm not worried about the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Lovable losers, whatever the case may be, but they're still the Detroit Lions. All right, let's get ready to hop into it. And I told you what the ground rules were. We are going to be discussing, right, the games. If you are more than a -2, if you are more than a $2 favorite, we'll talk Survivor. And let's get started with a team that is a $5 favorite. Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens. Get us started, right? Houston is a 9.5-point road dog versus the Baltimore Ravens. This one right here, Johnny, I probably won't take to the window, but if I'm betting this game, I'm doing the Houston Texans at plus 9.5. The reason why I tell you that is Lamar Jackson era. Lamar Jackson 10-18 ATS as a home favorite. To me, that shows that Baltimore is overvalued at home.
So I would say the Ravens, and I have to get confirmation on this, but just based off common sense, at least in the Circa Survivor pool and any other Survivor pool, I would probably say the Ravens are going to be the number one used entry this week for good reason. But at the end of the day, like I was really struggling with this, but for my millions, and I decided to do it because I saw this line a few weeks ago. And I said, I'm going to take a shot. Houston getting 10 is at Circa, and there's a couple other places. I'm going to play Houston. Yeah. It's a risky strategy, Corey, but at the end of the day, I think, Baltimore, you got Mark Andrews a little banged up, and I think despite how good the Ravens are in week ones, like they blow teams out by a wide margin, I just think there's a lot of room for a backdoor cover, something crazy. I think CJ Stroud's going to have a good game and just show why he was such a high draft pick. So give me Houston here. And I actually did not take the Ravens in my Survivor entry this week.
Oh, that's interesting because I think the Ravens are the best option for Survivor. Mm-hmm. I think it's 3 options for Survivor this week as we go through. We'll talk about it. But interesting that you don't take Baltimore, the biggest favorite of the week. And when you look down the road, Johnny, the only real game that they have where you could probably use them again sometime in the middle of the season, I think they travel to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Cardinals are terrible this year, or should be terrible this year. Interesting, no Ravens, so I'm going to be curious to see where you do go. But me and you are on the same page with this one. Take the points with the underdog. It's an ugly play. It's a hold your nose play, but we both believe that it is the right play to make. Now, the next game, Johnny, is very interesting because when you look at this one right here, right, AFC North battle between division rivals, the Bengals and the Browns. This number has been bouncing around all week. It'll probably be bouncing around all Sunday morning as well. So you want to get yourself prepared. And I do think that this is a playable game. Now, BetMGM sent out that insights email. If you're not in the media, you probably don't get this email, right? Me and Johnny, we are in the media, but we better than the people in the media. So we doing this ourselves because they don't know what the fuck they doing. Now, with that being said, that insights email said that the Cincinnati Bengals are one of the most bet teams ticket-wise this week and handled this week. Back in the Bengals I seen it at -2. I seen it at -2.5, but I've also seen some one, Johnny's. Hey, JV, I'm on the dog in this one too. Give me the Cleveland Browns plus 2.5, and I'm considering taking this to the window. When I say take it to the window, I mean making it an official play of mine.
Corey, we talked about this last night. I think the both of us weren't really feeling this game, but if we had to pick a side, we're both riding Cleveland at home. We're going to take the dogs in the dog pound. I think here we alluded to this last night, right? The Browns have owned the Bengals over the last few years. And if that wasn't bad enough, Jamar Chase gave Cleveland a little bulletin board material, kind of the Juju Smith-Schuster thing. Calling them the elves and kind of being a little bit disrespectful. At least that's like what Myles Garrett and them think. So that's a little extra motivation. I think there's good matchups. We know Cincinnati's not a great week 1 team over the last few years. Cleveland does have the advantage. And I think the Bengals are going to be a little bit rusty coming out, especially with Joe Burrow maybe in his first game action with this calf strain. So if you force me to take a side, which I'm not touching this game this week, it's obvious how much I guess sharp bettors are liking Cleveland because the line has come down a full point over the last day and a half. So I would take the Browns here for sure.
What do you think of Deshaun Watson? Yo, Johnny, last year, right? It was, he was rusty those games he played down the stretch. There's rusty, and then there's playing like Zach Wilson. Him and Zach Wilson had the same measurables in those 6 games he played. His numbers were comparable to Zach Wilson as far as his completion percentage and his yards per throw. Now, I'm like, does this guy fall off this bad, or can he bounce back?
Doesn't it seem like that magical aura about Deshaun Watson that was in Houston is just gone?
100%.
Maybe it's a perception thing. Maybe it's like we're seeing him in a different light. We're not seeing him as this like philanthropist, savior of the city of Houston originally. And now he's like low-key, he's low-key like one step away from being in prison for like all these alleged offenses.
Yeah.
The talent didn't go anywhere. Yeah, like I do think the rust has something to do with it, learning a new offensive system, playing with new players. This is his last chance, in my opinion. There's no excuses. Full off season. The distractions are behind him. I think if he doesn't come out and deliver this season, the Browns might go down as giving one of the most terrible investments at the quarterback position in a long time. And 230 guaranteed, baby.
Yeah. In NFL history, that could be the case. But Deshaun Watson, listen, we both agree that the Browns is the right play in this one. The Browns have beaten Cleveland 5 out of the last 6. Cleveland has beaten Cincinnati 5 of their last 6 games. So we are on board with that one right there as well. Now, getting ready to go to another matchup that I think is going to be one that the people are going to be very interested on this year. BetMGM also has this game as a game that's being heavily wagered. That is the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. San Francisco's coming west for a 1 o'clock start. You hear a lot of people talk about, West Coast team traveling east for a 1 o'clock start. Don't believe that stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean they're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? What means they're going to lose is the fact that they're going against Mike Tomlin, who I believe has won 4 straight openers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who a lot of people are very optimistic about coming into this season. Johnny V, I don't know if it's a week 1 thing, but I'm on the dog again. Give me the 2.5 with the Pittsburgh Steelers and sprinkle the money line.
Yeah, this is another play we talked about last night. And my main point of emphasis for this game was the simple fact that we have not seen 3 on this game for weeks.
Yes.
It has been hanging between 2 and 2.5. And
despite heavy betting on the 49ers.
I truly believe this is the biggest trap game of week 1. Why is this line not touch 3? There's something about they want bettors to look at this line and say, wow, we're getting the Niners, a potential Super Bowl winning team this year, inside a field goal. We got to hammer that.
Winning Super Bowl, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's what they think, right? Nick Bosa's coming back, like he's going to be on the field, like this whole mental thing. And, that aside, I do think Pittsburgh, who has TJ Watt back, they are noticeably better with him. And it's like not even funny how much better they are with him. They have a good matchup here. Nick Bosa, I think, is probably going to be on a snap count. I don't think he's going to be as effective as he normally would be because he hasn't really practiced all summer with the team. Give me the Steelers, man. They're a good week 1 team. And at home, Mike Tomlin, I trust him more than Kyle Shanahan. I think not only do they cover, but they win, and I'm throwing this in a couple of my entries in Circa Million this week.
All right, this one right here is an official play from JVTV. I will get behind that as well. I am going to be taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to the window, and I'm going to sprinkle the money line just like Johnny V. So far, we have been in accordance, and we normally don't agree on a lot of stuff, right?
No, we don't.
But this will show you that we going in the right direction, so you going in the right direction too. Now, we have another game that is division rivals. Jacksonville Jaguars, Indianapolis Colts in this one. Your boy, what's your man name? Quarterback in Indy, Anthony Richardson, making his first start, right? Jags, Colts in Indy, AFC South Division rivals. Jacksonville Jaguars, for the most part, 4 to 4.5 point favorite. Right now, the number I'm looking at has Jacksonville laying 4.5 on the road to start the season. Full disclosure, I'm not going to the window on this one. I'm not touching this game at all. If I do anything, I'll put the Jaguars in the money line parlay.
Yeah, again, this is not something that I'm looking to bet. I don't want to bet against Anthony Richardson. I'm a big fan of him. He's my offensive rookie of the year pick. I think he's going to do a lot of incredible things this year. He's also going to have a lot of growing pains and down moments, but I'm not rushing to the window either to back this. There's a lot of flaws in this Colts team, and they're missing arguably their best player in Jonathan Taylor, who's not going to be on the field for at least the first month. Jacksonville has a lot of expectations this year. They should steamroll them. But at the end of the day, I'm still not believing that Jacksonville's this team of destiny that we've seen get hyped up all year. That being said, Jacksonville should win and cover, but I'm not touching this game at all.
Yo, Johnny, Jacksonville is like minus $1.50 to win the AFC South. And I'm like, why do Jacksonville? I understand the division is weaker, but that's the same division odds that Kansas City has. Like, I'm never laying $1.50 with Jacksonville.
No, I'd rather. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're gonna throw in a parlay, maybe, but like, if you want Jacksonville, that your best shot is to wait because maybe they get out to a slow start. They have Kansas City next weekend. If you could get this somewhere around even money, maybe. But, Tennessee, as bad as they're going to be,
Tennessee is tough, Johnny. Tennessee can win any given Sunday.
Exactly.
Tennessee plays to the bitter end. Mike Vrabel, one of the best coaches in football. They're a very tough team to bet against.
And if you look at Tennessee, like, I don't think they're good. I don't think they're really going to go anywhere this year. But in how bad this division is, there's a lot of up and comers, but they're still a little while away. At least with Tennessee, I believe this might be Derrick Henry's last elite year, and he can will the Titans to victory any given Sunday. Like you said, they have some dogs on defense, by the way. Jeffrey Simmons is probably the most underrated, unsung hero in the NFL on that side of the rock. They got some playmakers like Treylon Burks at receiver, Chigo Okonkwo at tight end. Don't be surprised if the Titans, sneak up on you. And that's why I probably wouldn't play Jacksonville in the division race at this price at the moment.
Jacksonville is a minus 240 favorite. So that fits into our criteria for being a survivor pick. But then again, when it comes to survivor, I don't want to deal with division rivals, and I don't want to deal with road teams. Is Jacksonville somebody you considered in survivor this week?
No, it never even crossed my mind.
Good job.
No, not at all. There's going to be opportunities later in the year to hang on to them. So at least for Circa, right? It's not necessarily like a normal survivor pool. And by the way, apparently from what I've read, and we have to get reports on Jeff Benson over at Circa, he does a great job at running the book about like the official amount of entries and the overlays and all this. But I think I read somewhere that it's crossed over 8,000 entries for the Circa Survivor contest.
That's crazy.
Year. So it not only that, but you have to go 20-0. It's not 18-0. You have to go a couple weeks into the playoffs. So the fact is you have to kind of pick and choose your spots because at the end of the day, you're pretty much going to have to use 20 of the 32 teams in the NFL. And I think Jacksonville, there will be an opportunity at some point this year to get them in your survivor picks this year.
All right, next game, and I agree with you on that one right there. It's going to be a better chance to use Jacksonville. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's go to our nation's capital, where the Washington Commanders are a 7-point home favorite versus the Arizona Cardinals. We all feel that the Arizona Cardinals are in tank mode. Quarterback situation, obviously Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune. Now the Commanders, right? 7-point favorites. If the Commanders are 7-point favorites, the other team must ain't beat shit. You know what I'm saying? Now you know what you got. Sam Howell making his first season starting game. Ron Rivera and that crew back intact. The Commanders' defensive line is their strength. Eric Bieniemy, new offensive coordinator. But the big story here is this is the first game in a post-Dan Snyder, Washington Commander, Redskin football team, whatever they want to call themselves, Commodores, left hand up, whatever it is, Johnny. They're minus 340 favorites, so we got to discuss Survivor. But I'm on the Commanders, but I'm not betting this game anywhere. I would, if I have more than one Survivor entry, consider Washington as a Survivor team. But this is a no bet for me for the most part. You won't see me late as 7. I'm definitely not coming back with the Cardinals. I may use one of my Survivor entries for the Commanders.
Well, this is interesting because I only have one survivor entry this year, and I am going with the Commanders in week 1. I thought about this very, very hard over the last few days, and while Baltimore is definitely the safer play, the reason I went with Washington, they have a butter matchup, which we all know, but I'm not going to want to use the Commanders at any point this season. Like,
No,
this
you're
is
not.
the only time that I would say I want to use the Commanders. And listen, man, it's week 1. I don't want to burn a team that might be of great service to me at some point later in the year. I understand you have to get to that point, but I'm shooting for the shot here that Washington could just get this done, get me to week 2, and I could deal with my problems next week. And one of my entries, I'm taking the Commanders -7. I realize this is a high spread, but
That's
bro,
a high spread for the Commanders.
but the Cardinals are bad, dude. It's not that their roster is just that bad. It's the fact that it looks like it's a disaster from the start. I just don't feel like the players are buying into it. Like,
I think the players got to know that they're there really just to get tape because the team is planning on tanking.
Yeah, and like guys like Hollywood Brown, who's one of their best players, he is questionable heading into this week. We don't even know if he's going to play, and if he does, he's dealing with Josh Dobbs throwing him the rock. James Conner, he's slow. He looks like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. Zach Ertz is on his last leg of the NFL. Their defense is horrendous. Like, all they have is Budda Baker. They sent Isaiah Simmons to the Giants. I don't really know.
For like a day 2 draft pick.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, I cannot get behind Arizona at all this year. I realize the Washington's a little intimidating at this number, but I'm going to roll the dice on this one. Hopefully Sam Howell is good and he's capable, because, it's kind of risky starting him in this situation, but I think the Commanders with Terry McLaurin back, you got Jahan Dotson prime for a breakout. Brian Robinson, Gibby, there's a lot of weapons here, and the defense is very good as well. So give me Washington -7 and my one survivor pick for week 1. Your Honor, no objections.
All right, there you go right there. Washington Commanders, you better get it done for my boy JVTV. Let's head to the great north, where the Minnesota Vikings are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Minnesota comes into this game at home as a 5.5 point home favorite. This number is actually down from 6.5. So it looks like people are betting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game right here. I think the Vikings are in trouble this year, to be 100% honest with you. The Vikings are a -$2 favorite too. They are eligible. The team that we will discuss for Survivor. It's no chance I use Minnesota. And well, let me not say it's no chance. I think they win the game, but Minnesota's going to scare the shit out of you. One thing about Tampa, yes, they may be a bad team. They may be a bad roster, but it's the beginning of the season. They're healthy. They've had all summer to prepare for this one road trip right here to Minnesota. It's no bet for me at all, but I'd be very wary with the Minnesota Vikings, the favorite in this game.
Corey Parson, what is the current spread on this game? Enlighten me.
I'm still seeing Minnesota at 5 as a laying 5.5. You see something different?
No. What's 5.5 mean?
That's your thing.
That's the royal. Mint. That is the royal fucking mint.
The royal mint.
The house on the royal mint. What did I tell you yesterday, bro? You always take the road dog that closes at exactly 5 or 5.5 points. It doesn't always hit, but if you look back the last 3, 5, 10 years, it's hitting at over 70% clip, and the money line for the underdogs, straight up, it's coming home at over 50% of the time. So what this tells me here, outside of the Royal Mint,
go ahead,
Corey, is the fact that Tampa Bay, there's a lot of concern because of Baker Mayfield, and that's understandable. Todd Bowles, he should be a bridesmaid always, never a bride. We saw that with Tom Brady last year. But this is a good roster nonetheless. They still have Mike Evans. Yeah, he's playing pissed off. He's not going to be in Tampa past this year, most likely, after the contract extension's not happening. Chris Godwin's still a dog. Kate Otten was pretty good last year. They got Rachaad White ready to go in terms of his first year as a starter. The defense, they're pretty much all there. So I don't really understand why everybody thinks Tampa's going to be that bad just because of Baker Mayfield. Like, there's going to be times where they look good.
Todd Toilet Bowles. is not great either.
He's not, but there's times this year where Tampa Bay is going to be competitive. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. But Minnesota, we're both in agreement that the Vikings are in for a down year. I think they overachieved last year, which I expected. Justin Jefferson will get his on Sunday. Just
Anytime
because
touchdown scorer, Justin Jefferson, ring it up.
He's that guy, bro. He's a dog. He's that guy. He's the best receiver in football. Addison, I'm expecting a few big plays out of him. They got a running game with Alexander Madison, but to be honest, like if there's one area that the Bucks defense, as my dogs are going crazy, they're so annoying. I love them though.
Yeah.
As the Bucks defense has really dominated, it's in the run defense area, and that's why I think Madison could have a tough matchup. Cousins will be under pressure a lot with Shaq Barrett. I think the Bucks are live here. I put 2 of my Circa million entries in on them this week. I think they can win outright, not just cover.
All right, there you go right there. That's a bet for the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers make the contest as well. I'm laying off this one right here. I would take the number with the Bucks. I would still think that the Vikings win the game, but really it's no bet for me. Let's go to another division matchup down in what's going to be a very competitive. Don't go nowhere on me, Johnny. What's going to be a very competitive NFC South. Well, it's competitive because no team really stands out. With that being said, Panthers travel to Atlanta. Atlanta laying 3.5. Bryce Young making his first career start as a 3.5-point underdog on the road in the Dome down there in Georgia. I would take the hook with Atlanta. I think it's a 3-point game. I'm not strong enough on this game for this to make my official ticket, though.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I'm holding my nose. I went Carolina in one entry just because I'm like, bro, as a Falcons fan, I don't think people really understand the kind of suffering and pain I've had to go through my entire life.
Fan. That's right.
Like Atlanta is a popular team this year. They're like the Lions from last year. Everybody's on them. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be this. They're going to be that. Dude, you have not been a fan of this team. You don't know how they break your heart and find unbelievable ways to lose and look stupid. While I think they're probably going to win, they're also a bad week 1 team. Not that it necessarily matters. It's a new regime. But Carolina divisional, they're getting outside of a field goal. I think this is an opportunity for them to play it close. I'm expecting Bryce Young to make some big plays with his legs, put stress on this Atlanta D that doesn't really have that many great players outside of like Grady Jarrett and AJ Terrell. Give me Carolina, one play in my millions, and I'm going to hold my nose about it.
Yeah, it definitely is a hold your nose play if you're taking Carolina. It didn't look good in the preseason with Carolina going 0-3. Like Frank Reich, don't get the quarterback killed. Fix your blocking schemes and protection because that's a halfway decent offensive line. That team's been built up years through the trenches, through drafting early in the draft. They couldn't get their hands on the quarterback. Now, Frank Reich, you got the quarterback. Go ahead and get the job done. I still like Atlanta, but a little bit less more than I did earlier in the offseason, excuse me. But after I saw them in the preseason, I think that Frank Reich could be a bit of a problem. Hold your nose play with the Atlanta Falcons this week. Now, this is really interesting one right here. Titans and Saints in New Orleans, right? Saints, a 3-point home favorite versus Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans. There's a big coaching discrepancy in this game right here, if you ask me. I think Dennis Allen is a jackass. I think Mike Vrabel is probably one of the best coaches in the NFL. I'm taking the 3 with the Titans to the window.
Yeah, this is another play. I'm not on this game. I have nothing that I really love about it. I'd probably go with New Orleans at home, to be honest, and I'll tell you why. The Saints' run defense is also one that's been kind of the more dominant unit in the last few years. And, Derrick Henry is probably in for a 25 to 28 carry game. I could see him run into a brick wall a lot of times. Maybe he breaks a 10, 15 yard every now and then, scores a tutty. This is like set up for a classic Derrick Henry 26 carry, 88 yard, 1 touchdown game. Tannehill under a lot of pressure. Treylon Burks and Marshawn Lattimore going at it. I don't love it. Also, Tennessee, dude, they've struggled the last 2 years in week 1. They lost to the Giants in that stunning fashion last season, and they got absolutely mopped by Arizona in 21. I think New Orleans, if I was playing something, they would be the side at home.
All right, I can dig that. Now, I don't really talk a lot of like prop bets or fantasy. I love Olave in this game. I love Chris Olave in this game. I would hit the overs on some of his props if you want to go about it that way. But let's go to another game that has survivor potential. Philadelphia Eagles and New England Patriots on the road. Philadelphia, a 4-point road favorite. This has been kind of between 4 and 4.5 all week. But now we get a chance to see this line right here close. Well, it looks like it's going to close with about the Philadelphia Eagles as a 4-point road favorite. In the post-Tom Brady era, I believe Patriots 3-5 as home underdogs. You get behind Bill Belichick and the boys at home as an underdog, or is this load them up for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, this is one where I was actually between New England at home +4 or Carolina +3.5 on the road for for my last entry on one of my millions. I probably will go with New England.
Interesting.
I think New England at home, this is another gross play, but a field goal game. You know, the team that loses the Super Bowl week 1 of the next season, they're typically, they don't win, they don't cover. I feel like Bill Belichick finds a way. But I'll say this, though. If Ramondre Stevenson does not play, I'm completely off this game because there's just too many injuries on this offense. I think Devontae Parker's going through some stuff. Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm hearing reports like everybody else that his knee's about to explode. There's just not a lot of options on this offense. Ramondre Stevenson, to me, would just be the straw that broke the camel's back. So that's one that I would really look out for to see if he plays this week.
That's a good call right there. Keep an eye on that Ramondre Stevenson news. Now let's get to another game. I'm actually thinking this is going to be one, Johnny V, and I'm actually going to take to the window. Broncos, Sean Payton makes his debut as the Denver Broncos head coach. In his first game, he gets a division rival in the Raiders. His Broncos open up about a 4.5. This number down to 3.5. Juice to the point where it looked like it might touch 3. I'm going to go ahead and hop on the Raiders on the road in the division with the hook before it drops to 3, Johnny.
Yeah, all right.
This is probably a to the window play to me. I'm taking Jimmy Garoppolo to the window. Jimmy G, baby.
This is probably the game, the last game that I just want nothing to do with.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo, new team. Refresh my memory. Who's the coach on the Raiders? Isn't it Josh McDaniels?
Yes.
Josh McDaniels is one of the biggest losers in football in the 20th century. I don't like him. Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe if he wasn't as handsome as he was, he'd be bagging groceries because he's like an average at best NFL quarterback.
An average quarterback that's been to 2 NFC championship games and fingertips away from being a Super Bowl champion.
Excuse me. He's been to NFC championship games because he plays for one of the best teams in the NFL.
So it's not. So it's not him. It's not him when he's
a game manager. He's a game manager. It's
Brock
like when
Purdy
Alex
got him there.
He's a game manager. Yeah, Brock Purdy got him there. That's exactly what shows about this Niners team. Kyle Shanahan really built a great roster and he built great schemes. That's what he does. But Jimmy Garoppolo is not somebody that I'm keen on being the guy. And let's call it what it is. If Garoppolo makes that throw to Emmanuel Sanders, the Niners win the Super Bowl. He had one play to make and he did not make it. Neither here nor there. They're going against the Denver Broncos defense. They have some dogs. Patrick Surtain, he is arguably the best corner in the NFL.
And Devontae Adams is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
I agree. But I just think Derek Carr had obviously a really good rapport with Tay Adams. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo does yet. It's too early. Denver, to me, at home probably would be the side with Sean Payton. I hate Russell Wilson. But there's a little bit more talent on this Denver team than Vegas.
I think it's going to be one of the most interesting games. Me and Johnny split sides on that one, but I am going with the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, let's stay in the AFC. This is going to be a goodie right here too, Johnny. We getting into that 4:00 window now. This is going to be a good one. Chargers and Dolphins. Chargers are a 3-point home favorite in this one versus the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm looking at some splits here. For the most part, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, 58% of the handle ticket-wise, not 58% of the tickets on the Miami Dolphins. That would make Miami a trendy underdog. You know I'm all about fading that trendy underdog. I'll lay the 3 with the Falcons. Oh, excuse me, not the Falcons. I'll lay the 3 with the Chargers. If it pushes, it pushes. But I think the Chargers win the game. I wouldn't mind a Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Chargers money line parlay. A little how you doing, as you say.
A little how you doing, Corey Parson? You, my ears are perking up on that one because I do like that play. I think the Chargers win too. I think they cover. That's in 2 of my 3 entries.
Nice
this week for the millions. I'm a big Chargers guy. You know, I want them to win a Super Bowl so bad. It's just
Why?
Brandon Staley is sometimes
he's doing, son.
Sometimes he's just like on another planet with the way he coaches games and calls plays. But regardless, I think Miami has still got some stuff they have to figure out. The big weakness of the Chargers defense has been the run game. But, you know, as good as Raheem Mostert is at times, I'm not that confident that Miami's going to be gashing them all day. The secondary is good enough to kind of silence the big plays from Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle for a little while. Like, I think it's enough to slow them down, not necessarily stop them. I think Justin Herbert's going to carve them up. It's going to be a 30 bean for LAC, just like last year where they won by double digits.
Yeah, last year they actually handled the Dolphins in their own building. The Chargers play better at home than they do on the road in bigger games. You know what I'm saying? And this right here, every AFC game between 2 AFC teams has playoff implications because you can look back at this game all the way in December, at the end of December, and be like, oh, this is the game. This is the reason why we weren't able to make the playoffs. Here goes one, Johnny. This is another one of BetMGM's insights. Say this one of the most bet games on the slate this week. Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers. Bears and Packers, division rivals, getting ready to go at it. The Bears open up about a 2.5-point favorite. That number is now down to 1. Jordan Love makes his NFL, let's just call it his NFL debut. Justin Fields comes back. There's people out there that think that Justin Fields is going to take a Jalen Hurts style step up. Those people are jackasses, in my opinion. With that being said, Green Bay Packers on the money line, and I'm taking it to the window.
We're on opposite sides here because I think the Bears, you know, the line has come down. You get the Bears at 1. It was a little bit higher, as you said, right? It was 2. And, you know, I'm not one of those people that think Fields is going to take the Jalen Hurts leap, but I think he's going to take a leap, and it's going to start with his arm. You know, Fields has got the goods, man, but now he's got DJ Moore. There's no excuses. You got a legit receiver. Moore is very good. He's never played with a good quarterback in his career. This should be the first. And Fields had to improve as a passer. But, you know, Green Bay's defense is one of the more underrated units in football. They have a lot of playmakers. It all starts with Jair Alexander at corner. I think the Bears gut out an ugly win. I think they find a way to move the rock. I think the fact that Jordan
you would
Love
lay the 1.5.
I mean, I would just take the money line at that point.
Yeah,
but,
at that point, just
for Circa million.
What I'm saying is, you're not doing it in the contest, are you?
No, I am.
It's not a contest. You
it's
are.
One
so
entry.
You're taking.
I am. Yeah, no, it's one. It's one of my entries. Just because I got to go with something different. I wanted to try it, and I think because, you know, Jordan Love, I don't really know what he's gonna do, and he's missing Christian Watson.
He's going to kill it. Jordan Love is going to kill it.
Romeo Dobbs might be out. Watson's out.
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Watson's out. There's no, he might not play. He is out. It is official. Romeo Dobbs is questionable. So who's he throwing the rock to? Jayan Reed? I think this is ugly, but I think it goes in way of the Bears. I think Justin Fields is the best player on the field, and I think he's going to make the difference. He's going to bottle up some of that magic from last year.
All right, and you go right there. Opposite sides on that game right there, but I do like the Green Bay Packers a lot, taking the Packers to the window. Let's go another divisional matchup, 2 divisional matchups to close the program. Let's go to the Pacific Northwest, where the Seattle Seahawks are a 5-point home favorite versus their division rivals, the Los Angeles Rams.
Corey.
What? I know.
Corey.
It's right there. It's right there. The
Right
Jim
there?
Mint. The Jim Mint special is
No,
right
the
there. Is that what
Royal
you call it?
Mint. Say
The
it the right
Royal Mint.
way.
I don't fucking know. The Royal Mint.
Well, it's
all right?
the Royal Mint. It's in my Twitter bio. How
I'm
about
sorry.
you? How about you do your research on me first? The Royal Mint, baby. That's what it is. I talked about it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So FYI though, the Royal Mint, as I said, you have to close 5 or 5.5.
Exactly.
Not sure if that's going to happen, but there are 5s, 5.5s out there still right now. Kenny Walker shed a groin injury designation tag that he might not play. It looks like he's ready to go. To me, it doesn't matter because, I play the number. The only time I don't play this is like last year when the Colts went to New England with a rookie quarterback, Sam Ellinger. That's the only time I didn't play it.
Didn't win it hit?
No, it didn't hit.
Okay.
And I didn't play it because I know Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. So I don't care if Cooper Kupp's not playing. I understand he's kind of
They really had no way to move. Well, Cam Akers, I said, how they going to move the ball? But listen, and I think early in the season is the best time to back the Rams before you see that they don't have nobody when their starters get hurt. They got to go to dudes like me and you. So now is the time to play them while they're relatively healthy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's also a division rival, bro. Like Sean McVay is a great offensive mind. He's one of the best we've seen maybe in the last 15 years. And, even though Cooper Kupp's out, he finds ways to get these random guys open. And he's still got Matthew Stafford under center. This is a guy that can make a lot of big plays. And this is what you need when you're trying to pull off an upset or trying to keep a game close. So I do think the Rams are capable of doing so. And, Seattle, as good as they are, let's see how they repeat after the success from last year. There's a lot of helium in this team,
I think the Seattle
there was the
Seahawks
Lions.
are a team that can go to the NFC Championship game.
With Geno Smith, as good as he was
Geno
last
Smith
year,
killed it last year.
My comeback player of the year. He won me a lot of money. No question about it.
You think that was a fluke?
I don't know if it's a fluke, but I think I could see some regression happen. Like, I love Jackson Smith and Jigba. The receiving core's real. Kenny Walker's a stud. I have a little bit of questions on this defense outside of like Tariq Woolen. I think I'm going to hold my nose, bro. It's Royal Mint. I'm taking it with the Rams. Matthew Stafford, Big Daddy Stafford. He's going to keep this game close, and I think they just get edged by Seattle by a field goal.
I think, and I agree. I think it's a close game. I think Seattle eventually does win the game. Mm-hmm. If I was betting them, I would take the Rams with the points in this one if I was going to the window with this. But I also would consider the Seahawks $2 favorite as a potential survivor play. But it's better options in Baltimore and the Commanders. Those are the two top options. And then I would also say that the Vikings are an option as well. But the Vikings are going to have you sweating to join out. Final game, we're not going to talk Monday Night Football. We'll get a chance to talk about that on Monday, or we'll do that in the pregame show on Sunday. Final game of the Sunday slate is the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night football night in America. You know what I'm saying? Company we used to work for. The number in this one is 3.5. That's how many people used to watch Bet the Edge. But Dallas Cowboys laying the hook on the road versus the rivals, the New York Giants. I'm going to the window with Big D, later 3.5. This game comes down to 2 units. The Dallas Cowboys defense versus the New York Giants offense, and I think that's a mismatch.
Don't get comfortable. Don't make a habit out of this. I'm running with you on the Cowboys. I think Dallas laying the 3 at the Giants. The recent success that Dallas has had against the Giants, not only have they won, but they've won by at least a touchdown in, I think, 4 straight games. To tell you the truth, man, like, there's just a lot of talent on this Dallas roster. The offense, I don't think is going to be as good as it was a few years ago, but I think Tony Pollard is going to have a good season. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks was a gigantic pickup that I don't think enough people are talking about.
I love the Cooks pickup.
I'm excited about Deuce Vaughn, coming in as like a gadget player, every now and then getting rotation for Pollard. But yeah, you alluded to it, dude. It's the defense. The defense is the unit that's got to be, lockdown. I'm expecting Micah Parsons to be the defensive player of the year. Nothing says defensive player of the year on the prime stage against the Giants in New York, NFC East rival. They're coming out with a big game. I think Dallas wins by a touchdown. The Giants, I think they're going to make some noise this year, but now Darren Waller's might not play. They're
That's
already
crazy
off to a bad start.
already. You know what I'm saying?
Already. He might not play.
This guy can't stay. This guy might be a fluke, Darren Waller.
I think, and you know what? The 3, I actually played it in 2 of mine because Circa gave the line out at 3, not 3.5.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. I love it. So I had to take it. I think Dallas wins by a touchdown. I think you're still good to play this at Dallas minus 3.5. I don't think the hook's going to end up coming into play.
When you see that road hook, you know what I'm saying? That's a pretty dominant and solid team, especially in division. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys as well. All right, so we just went through the games, game by game, every game but Monday night on the pregame show on Sunday. If you're fortunate enough to hop back and join us, we'll handicap that one and break it down for you. Now, Johnny, do you want to give me your 5 best plays of the week? All right, so there you go. Let me get your 5 best plays of the week from my man JVTV.
So here is what I did on my first Survivor entry, or my first Millions entry. I picked my 5 best. Steelers plus 2.5, Rams plus 5.5, Bucks plus 5.5, Cowboys minus 3, and it involves the Monday night game.
Okay.
So do you want me to give it, or you want me to hold on?
Yeah, give it. That's cool.
Jets plus 2. Jets at home. Rodgers new.
I love the Jets.
It's the 9/11 game. Jets at home on 9/11. It's everything's set up here. I think the Bills. They're gonna be in trouble here. I think Garrett Wilson's gonna be Offensive Player of the Year if it's not Jamar Chase. I'm expecting monster things from Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers this year.
No doubt. I'm with you on that one right there. So we are off and rolling. Week 1, big bets in the book. Fantasy exec Corey Parson, my man JVTV, gave you his Circa Millions picks. A lot of cats is not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But we are here for the people. Now, get you ready for Sunday morning. Me and Johnny V will come back. We'll do a quick little pregame, and then we'll go and we'll get ourselves together to set our lineups and get our entries played and stuff like that. So thank you for rocking with us. We'll catch you later on this weekend. For my man JVTV, is Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. You already know we just made you a ton of money. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We out.